Sit rolling around, sitting on doves, can't lie, I was high on shrubs.
So then I'll go back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. Today we're doing a ranking for Wes Anderson. How we do our rankings on Sun Topical, we do our favorite, our least favorite to our favorites. And then to make a non-biased list, we take both rankings, combine them into one, and that's the master ranking for the Sun Topical YouTube channel. So, with that being said, he'll tell you about, I don't know what you'll tell him about. We got the little social media video thing. He ain't gonna tell him about nothing. He gonna tell him the rankings work, actually. That's what he's gonna tell him about. Jesus.
Yeah, so Wes Anderson has 11 movies now. So, basically, each of us is just gonna kind of, a little more quickly go through our 11 through 6. Then once we get to our top 5, he'll give his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4. 3, 2, 3, 2. Then we trade off number 1s. I don't think we really use the Zemeckis rule for this list, so you don't have to worry about that.
Number 11 for Strange Wayne should be The French Dispatch. The art one is by far the best one, and then after that, I just really don't want to watch that movie anymore. It's overly pretentious, and I just don't like it. Number 10 is going to be Bottle Rocket. It feels like someone in college wanted to make a Wes Anderson movie and made Bottle Rocket. Obviously, he was finding his style. It's his first movie, but I like a more polished Wes Anderson movie. Next, number 9, we got Steve Zissou, The Life Aquatic. It's cool. It's a little long. There's not enough meat for me. Obviously, they look dope as fuck in their little outfits, but just not enough there for me. Next, at number 8, is going to be the newest edition, Asteroid City. I'm not going to talk about this as much because I have a film review on the channel, Eye in the Corner. So I'll leave most of that talking to him since he hasn't talked about it yet. But I'm hungry. Also, goddamn.
And you bumped the camera.
Yes.
Schmuck.
Asteroid City. Really good, not enough substance. When they say style over substance, I felt this way towards this movie. Wonderful color palette. I love desert scenery. But I just wanted more from this movie, and I didn't get it. At number 7, Isle of Dogs. Not enough, there's like more development there than Asteroid City, but the color palette and everything else just, it hits a ceiling and it's above average. Next, at number 6, we have the Darjeeling Limited. It has a wonderful short film in front of it, which I absolutely love dearly. But the train sequence with the brothers, the best part. I love that. It's amazing. When they get to India after that, it's kind of hit and miss. But then the ending wraps it up and puts a nice bow on it. And I really like it because sooner or later you get to it. And I prefer Wes Anderson movies that are 65 to 70% Wes Anderson movies, and then 25-30% in the real world. He still has like a foot in an earth that I can see at the same time, so it gives it the push. That's my 11 to 6.
Nice. So my number 11 is, listening to his list is so interesting because I knew we were probably going to have the same top 3, but after that, it's just a complete mystery as to what order each of them was, the other person was going to put them into me. Number 11 for me is Bottle Rocket. You said it was like a college filmmaker wanted to make a Wes Anderson movie, and that is pretty much exactly what Bottle Rocket is, except the college filmmaker who wanted to make a Wes Anderson movie was, in fact, Wes Anderson. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's just not that polished. Number 10 for me is Rushmore. I don't like that movie. It's good. Wes Anderson, in my opinion, has not made a bad movie. Rushmore is just probably my least favorite to watch.
Okay, real quick. Sorry to interrupt.
Uh-huh.
For me, my 6 to 11 are all in the mid 70s to high 80s. What would you put Rushmore at? It doesn't gotta be exact ballpark.
80.
Okay.
I don't have a Wes Anderson movie in the 70s, I don't think. Well, maybe Bottle Rocket, but it would
really
be...
don't like the French Dispatch.
Well, you're an idiot. That's fine.
Dick.
Number 9 for me is Isle of Dogs. I really love his claymation work. I love that he gives a space for claymation artists to do some really, really cool things. And they do some incredibly cool things with claymation Isle of Dogs. But in terms of Wes Anderson movies, 80% of this movie is drab and gray. And that's just not what I really want from a Wes Anderson movie. I want the colors, and even the dialogue in this one is a little more... there's plenty of dryness to Wes Anderson movies, but Isle of Dogs is just very dry all around in a lot of ways. I really love the beginning, and I really love the end, but the middle just isn't that great for me compared to the rest of his work. Number 8 for me is The French Dispatch. I really love The French Dispatch, but it's not necessarily a complete movie, so I felt like it didn't earn a right to be much higher than that, but I do like it more than all the other movies below it. Number 7 for me, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I don't understand why everybody loves this movie so much. I thought it was really good. I really enjoy it. I think it is a great way to introduce kids to Wes Anderson, because it, in terms of movies nowadays, well, really any day, people complain about how long movies are now, but I've watched a lot of old movies recently, and a lot of old movies are still like 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Like, this isn't new that movies are long, but Fantastic Mr. Fox, relatively short. Because it is short, a lot of stuff does not get fleshed out, and I refuse to overlook that. And then number 6 for me is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Not only do I think this is Wes Anderson's most visually stunning movie, I think that he does a lot of things in this movie that we will probably never see done again in another movie in terms of visuals. So I don't disagree that the story definitely doesn't quite hold up to everything that I'm going to have above it on this list, but it still has some emotional beats, and you get to watch Bill Murray do Bill Murray things for a really long time, and I appreciate that.
Wow. So these are our favorites. We're into the top 5. For me, these are 95 and better. All. He doesn't have one that just sticks out in the mid to low 90s for me. So with that being said, our favorites, number 5 for me is going to be The Grand Budapest Hotel. I just finished watching this movie. It's phenomenal. If somebody was like, show me something that encapsulates Wes Anderson, like all the little things you see, memes, jokes, parodies of what a Wes Anderson movie is, I would show them this. You get symmetrical shots, beautiful color palette, interesting characters that only Wes Anderson can create and write for. This movie has them all. The other 4 for me just connect to who I am as a person more. So that's the reason why it's my number 5. With this non-biased list, it will be higher because it's one of his favorite movies of all time. But also, I can recognize that this is probably his second best movie because it's fucking flawless. There's other movies that either this bit of dialogue stuck out and I was like, well, that's not very good writing because the character should know that already and the audience doesn't know that, but you could have put that here. Little nitpicks like that. This film doesn't have any nitpicks personally. It's just a great, short, packed film full of excitement and fun that doesn't connect to me the way the other 4 do, which is why it's number 5. Number 4, Rushmore. I find this film to be relatable, funny, heartwarming at times, just so odd, and again, it has a huge footprint in the real world, and that's how I like my Wes Anderson movies. So because of that, relatability, and these characters only Wes Anderson could write for, these little kids, all the extras are so not fleshed out per se, but by the end of the movie, you know his gimmick, and how he just went in and put a gimmick to every little kid. is just amazing. And one of the reasons why I love Wes Anderson films because he cares about the little parts as much as the big parts. So Rushmore number 4, and then his 5 and 4.
So my number 5 is the Darjeeling Limited. I really love this movie. I think that, kind of to your point what you're talking about, it is like not necessarily, I don't know how to, I feel like it's kind of in that middle ground between like having one foot planted on Earth and then one, the other foot being in.
100%.
So Darjeeling's like this kind of middle ground. It's like, it's a pretty crazy story, but there's nothing that's like stupid, unrealistic. He kind of finds a way to sneak some sort of stop motion animation in almost every movie. This one, it's just like kind of the little bits with the tiger once they find their mom and all that stuff. But what I really love about the Darjeeling Limited is most of Wes Anderson's movies have a lot of depth to them. He just doesn't always... to backtrack, I would say he rarely just serves it to you on a platter. Like, you kind of have to look for it. You have to be paying attention and all that stuff. Whereas in the Darjeeling Limited, listen to these three brothers talk. It is probably the most, like, in terms of his characters being open about feelings and things that they are discovering and learning, it is probably the most, like, openly emotional of the three films. Or not three films, but... it's probably the most like openly emotional out of all of Wes Anderson's films. And so that was kind of refreshing to me that you go on this really long journey and then you get some very honest dialogue at length about what the characters are feeling. And so that's my number 5. And I also just think that like it's basically a road trip movie in a sense. And it feels in a sense a little smaller than some other Wes Anderson movies because you kind of are just with these three characters, where most of his other movies it's like you may have a handful of main characters, but you also have side characters that are pretty much in the whole film that all have their own fleshed out, developed personalities and all that stuff, where Darjeeling Limited, the majority of it is focused on the brothers, and because they are moving so much, you get a side character like basically at every stop, but they're not necessarily with you the whole time. And so it stands out to me among all of his films. Number 4 for me is his newest film, which is Asteroid City. I've been reading a lot of people's reviews of this. A lot of people said the same thing that you said, that you feel like it's style over substance. That makes me really sad because you didn't get it. And I went and watched this movie with my wife, and we talked about it for a while after it was over. And after really talking about it, I think this is actually one of, if not the most emotionally deep movies that he's ever written. And contrary to the Darjeeling Limited, he just doesn't serve it to you on a platter. You have to dig into it. You have to really think about it. I watched a couple interviews with the actors, and almost every single one of them said you really need to watch it twice. And I kind of understand that, especially if you don't have someone else to like dissect it with immediately after. But the amount of stuff that this movie actually has to say about grief and finding your place in the world when you feel like an outcast, and about just the mystery of life in general, it's pretty insane that he packed it all in this stuff and buried it so deeply under so many Wes Anderson isms that I think he did it on purpose. And I think that when he reads reviews about people saying that this movie is all style over substance, he's probably just laughing to himself because he's like, gotcha, motherfuckers. So, Asteroid City is my number 4.
Wow. Again, like you said, I didn't have anyone talked about this with. I came in, did my review, and then...
Well, I want to add another thing that me and my wife talked about when we were talking about it, because she told me...
Who?
My wife.
My wife.
King of the castle. I have a chair. That's how I feel, knowing that one person on this couch actually understood Asteroid City. I couldn't help it.
I'm a fucking snob.
Yeah, well, contrary to me being a snob, but only because it's you. I think it's just worth mentioning at this point specifically, or having this conversation. she has seen 4 Wes Anderson movies now. Asteroid City is her favorite, and that was really interesting to me
Because I know the 4 you showed her, including Asteroid City 4.
Yeah, so she's seen what is going to be our 1, 2, and 3, and now Asteroid City.
Well, you're 1, 2, and 3.
Well, right, because you don't make any sense at all. But
Fucking guy.
anyways,
You have an opinion.
Again, contrary to my point,
Motherfucker, you are walking Twitter today. Holy shit.
it's really only you.
Clearly.
Because the conversation that I had with Anna was that I don't know, like I don't know if she thought that I would like be contentious about the order that she listed the 4 movies that she saw or not. But Wes Anderson movies to me are legitimately art. Like they're not just like they're not Rocky, they're not Star Wars, they're not, you know, a lot of like mainstream movies I'm not saying they're not art, but they're mostly just for entertainment. Wes Anderson actually like packs so much into his stuff. Like it truly is art, and art truly is subjective. So if you're not Strange Wang, I would never get upset about anyone's list of Wes Anderson movies. Unless they're just trying to tell me that they're straight up bad, and then I would probably debate with you. But
Motherfucker probably grabbed her hand.
if you are Strange Wang, then I'm going to tell you you're absolutely insane for having the Grand Budapest Hotel at number 5.
You probably grabbed her hand. My wife. That Gomez Adams on her one time. It's okay, darling. You can put him in any order you want.
I did not, but
That's why I don't want to sleep on the couch talk. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely want to talk about it more now since you have it so high. Because I honestly thought we'd have been on the same page. I knew you was going to like it more than I did.
I almost put it at number 3.
Holy fucking shit. Wow. Now I really want to talk about it. Number 3 for me, though, speaking of 3s, is going to be The Fantastic Mr. Fox. I love this movie because I love shysters. The claymation, the country-esque aspect of it, because these are farmers and things. And just how he took this Roald Dahl idea and put it to film. I didn't know the Roald Dahl story beforehand, so maybe that's why I like it more, because it's new, it's fresh to me. But just a simple idea of this heist movie, basically, but in this farm scenario, and just making that connection, to me, is like, I get so joyful and giddy. Just like, it's a heist movie with eggs and boxes. Like, I don't know. I love that. It's like so charming to me, that idea. And again, that's probably because I don't know the story that it came from. But the voice cast is phenomenal. One of my favorite voice casts in all of animated movies in general. And just the jokes all are spot on to me. They fixed Rocky 5. I have a son, but this person who just came in my life, I identify with them better. And that storyline I find very interesting because of the Rocky. They didn't get it right. So because of that, it just connects to me a lot more. Number 2, Moonrise Kingdom. I absolutely love this fucking movie. Not enough to fucking buy it though, apparently. Because I was looking, I said, damn, I don't have this. Nate, can I borrow yours? He said yes, and I watched it and I fell in love with it all over again. Young love is what Wes Anderson does best, I feel like, personally. And I include Richie in that.
Yeah.
Because they're not terribly old.
Well, they fell in love when they were kids, too.
Yeah. So, that aspect, just spot on for me. The 60s, 70s time period, I just love films in that era. You have this camp aspect, that summertime feel, which is relatable, which has that charm to it as well. Those summer loves that either you met this girl at the beach or you met this girl at camp or whatever the case may be. Relatable. Kids being kids. Technology involved or not, he nails that connection and what makes kids kids almost consistently better than any other director. I'm not going to say any director in history, because then we're just nitpicking one film versus 5 or 6. But consistently for sure. I don't know how he gets these kid actors to be so expressive and everything, because kids are usually more reserved or embarrassed about things, stuff like that. So the performance is all incredible. The adult stuff and the kind of sort of mirroring towards the kids, because you're telling two love stories at the same time. I find that very interesting, and that contrast and how things can change over time. The young innocence versus the exposed to the world, the lived in relationships. Everything in this movie is phenomenal. The color palette, incredible. You have the fucking old Indian Hank Williams song, Chickasaw.
Yeah.
Overplayed, but I'm glad that's in the film. I wish they would have poured more things like that to this movie, because it would just give it a phenomenal soundtrack instead of playing the same song 4 times and then playing this weird amalgamation of orchestra bits in the beginning and the one song off her favorite album and their dance scene. But love this film. Just, again, you have a footprint in the real world, but you have so many Wes Anderson's isms to make it his own. Love it. Phenomenal. And that's why it's my number 2.
Nice. So my number 3 was Moonrise Kingdom. I agree with everything you said. I love the kids in this movie. Just like Susie's angst and Sam's like, he's like wounded, but also like confident and optimistic. Like he just is who he is.
He has a chip on his shoulder.
And he's not trying to be anything other than he is, but he's like aware that him being who he is like causing him problems. And so it's like, yeah, outside of all that other stuff, it's also just a story about like complete and total acceptance. Like they don't try to change each other. They're just like, you are who you are. And I kind of get you to a certain extent, because like Sam's foster family doesn't want him back and he can't fit in it anywhere. And Susie has her mom and dad, but they're like constantly treating her like something's just completely wrong with her. And so she feels the same way he feels, even though she physically has her parents. And yeah, it's like two people who understand each other finding each other is one of the most, like, whether it's like in a romantic aspect or friendship aspect or what, it's just like one of the best feelings in the world when you finally meet somebody who you feel like understands you. And that's really important to have. So I really love that side of the story that gets told here. And like the setting is incredible. All the side characters are incredible. Wes Anderson uses narration to some extent in almost every single one of his movies, but the narration in this movie is maybe my favorite use of him using a narrator, because he's not narrating anything that has to do with the kids. He's just narrating the peril that is about to befall the island. And so it's adding this sense of like ominousness. It's not omniscience. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's impending danger coming, and it's like it adds to the story really, really well.
It ups the stakes in a somewhat stakesless movie.
Right, yeah. And then, like, Bruce Willis just connecting to the kid after talking to the social worker, and, like, he becomes legitimately, like, why do they just keep throwing this kid around? Like, this isn't the right way to handle it. Like, he just helps him figure it out while the kid helps him figure some of his shit out. And it's really a beautiful story, I think. So,
yeah.
And then my number 2 is the Royal Tenenbaums. I think this, and so obviously my number 1 is going to be the Grand Budapest. It is what it is. And to me, these two are pretty interchangeable. It just literally comes down to personal favorite. To me, both these movies are like 95-96% movies. One is just incredibly melancholy, and the other one is like a little more fun and adventurous. And so the fun and adventurous just appeals a little bit more to me than the melancholy, with like a sliver of hope at the end. But still an absolutely incredible movie. I did a bracket. It was a bracket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of Wes Anderson character last week. Royal Tenenbaum. He's one of the best written characters that's ever been on a movie screen before. He's so interesting in so many ways. He's a complete asshole, but is like maybe one of the most fun assholes you'll ever meet. We haven't talked about it yet, but it's bound to come up at some point. Wes Anderson, just really, really good at writing characters that are some of the worst people you've ever met, and then just making them incredibly endearing. And he does that in the Royal Tenenbaums. I mean, I don't usually find myself caring about Ben Stiller's character that much, but like there's still a little bit there. But yeah. Margot Tenenbaum, Richie Tenenbaum, Royal, you genuinely want to see them get their shit together. And like the mom who just kind of is like doing everything she can to hold shit together, but still is just trying to live her own fucking life without having to deal with everybody else's drama. I love the flashbacks to when they're kids because it helps you understand why they are the way they are now. So, yeah, incredibly written movie.
Very good. And again, I've said this a ton. It has a footprint in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, this family 100% does exist in, like, high-end New York.
Yeah.
And then you see them riding around with a garbage man. You're like, yeah, that's probably real-life garbage man, you know? Because Royal, he is so much fun and endearing to his grandchildren. And the thing about Ben Stiller, personally, I see that he's the last wall that is against his father.
Right.
Even the mom, his ex-wife, finds him charming since being in love with him all those years.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anything to do with him, so obviously he's going to have less to do in the movie until his sons are involved with the grandfather getting to know him.
Yeah.
And that's where he steps up. So obviously he's going to be more in the background because he doesn't want to be anywhere near his father. His father ends up living in the house a little bit. So
yeah,
you have that combatant. And that's where I'm like, I don't need to know. Like, I know he's hurt. And that's what I need from that character.
Yeah.
But layered characters out the wazoo. Obviously, the love triangles are very interesting. But with Eli Cash, Margot, and Richie, you just get layered. This unforbidden love, to an extent, is also there with step siblings. And it's just like, man, the scene where he goes in the bathroom and, like, does his little thing, like, jaw-dropping, intense, just, it puts the film in a new gear, and it adds so much more on top of your investment, and really just makes you care about his character from here on out, along with Royals. And to me, it's his Pulp Fiction to say. This is when you say Wes Anderson, that's the first movie people think of. That's his most well-known movie. And to me, I don't think he's made a movie better than that. So, it's my favorite Wes Anderson movie because everything both of us said about it on this couch.
Yeah. And then, like I said, my number one's Grand Budapest Hotel. I can't think of a single thing wrong with this movie. You also said you can't really think of a single thing wrong with this movie. It was just you related to more stuff from the other stuff a little bit different. To me, I relate to this movie. I don't know if relate is the right word. It just connects with me the most. The color palette is right up my alley. I love the setting. I love the music. I love the depth that we get between Jude Law's character just kind of stumbling upon an older Zero and getting to hear this story from him, and then hearing the story and getting to see it in such a crazy way. It's like it's part murder mystery, it's part heist, it's got the love story in it. You get like these little insights into Zero's background, coming from like a completely war-torn country. And when you really think about, and like, to me, that's what Wes Anderson does so well. He will give you like one little clip of dialogue that can seem insignificant in the moment, but then when you think about what it actually means for that character, it adds this whole nother level of depth to them. Because like learning that about Zero means that the Grand Budapest isn't just this job that he really, really wants. It is literally like a safe haven for him from everything else that is from the world that he came from, where his entire family got slaughtered due to genocide. Like, so understanding that aspect of him, and then understanding what the hotel means to him, understanding what Gustav means to him, stepping in and filling this like father-like role when he has lost his entire family and is still an incredibly young boy, getting little bits of advice from him about like what to do about Agatha. Their whole relationship is incredibly sweet and endearing to me, because she's clearly not in a position that she loves to be either. The guy that she works for is a freaking prick.
A genius.
Huh? Right.
That's Gustav said.
Yeah. And yeah, so like getting to like watch those three characters work together, I don't know why I have just struggled to like Adrian Brody like throughout his film career until he's in a Wes Anderson movie, and then I'm like, this guy needs to be in every movie. And then I see other movies that Adrian Brody's in, and I'm like, I don't like Adrian Brody, but I love him really in every Wes Anderson movie, but especially Grand Budapest, because I already don't like his face, and then you make him this just like maniacal, evil guy, is awesome to me. I think this movie has the best use of Willem Dafoe, like turning him into this just like brooding, mostly silent killer. It's just like, when else do you get to see Willem Dafoe like that? You don't. And the dude just like Willem Dafoe can go from being this like frail old man to a hotel owner who's just trying to fix his own shit and, you know, keep his life together, to this like they made him look big. He's not big. Willem Dafoe is tiny. And it's like, I love his character in this as well, because it's like anytime he's on screen, you know that like there is a threat. And like the museum scene where he's like tracking Jeff Goldblum down is incredibly tense. So this movie just takes you on like a complete roller coaster. Yeah, really love it. It's like, it is one of my comfort movies. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's definitely my favorite Wes Anderson movie. Very glad that Grand Budapest Hotel exists.
Watching it like 30, 40 minutes ago, I don't believe I ever thought about this before, but it kind of has this like weird, like fairy tale-esque aspect to it.
Yeah, well, it is.
Maybe because I'm like, it has the same, not because it's like that character, but the storytelling is the same as one of our favorite movies, Princess Bride, where you're sitting down and telling someone the story and then you're cutting back and forth.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I'm relating it to it.
Yeah.
But I just like, I don't know, it's just has that aspect to it, I felt like.
Yeah, it's supposed to, because it is, we're not watching it play out in real time. It is a story that is being told to Jude Law's character. So yeah, I think it's supposed to be that way, because it's how Zero remembers it.
Yeah, that is fair.
Yeah.
But we'll be back with the master ranking after this message. Here at Sonotopical, we're unfortunately poor, and this money you see on screen, that's CGI. That's not real money, because again, we're poor. So if you want to click in the ad eye in the corner, that video is monetized and we can make money off it, so please go watch it.
And if you click an ad, we make more money. And if you really want to help, there's the thanks button right there below this video.
Back with the list. Is there a certain way you want to go? Because I know that one time you were like, I don't want to see that movie. I know you want to say a movie.
This list is bullshit anyway, so you can go ahead. I don't care. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, number 11 is Bottle Rocket.
Number 10, we got The French Dispatch.
Number 9, Isle of Dogs.
Number 8, The Life Aquatic.
Number 7, Rushmore.
Number 6, Asteroid City.
Number 5, The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Number 4, The Darjeeling Limited.
Number 3, the Moonrise Kingdom. It's the Grand Budapest.
Number 2, the Moonrise Kingdom.
Number 1, the Grand Budapest Hotel.
The Royal Tenenbaums at number 1. Put your ranking in the comment section below. Scroll back, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.